Okay, so I'm going to get started. So thank you all for joining us on our second town hall meeting, I guess is what I'm calling it, even though Jody doesn't like that name. But I like town hall. It makes it sound cozy and cute. So I'm just going to give a couple updates. I have an agenda of some things that I'm going to go through. And then as always, I'll open it up to questions at the end, questions, comments, etc. For those of you that are on the Zoom, you can feel free to, chat or just take yourselves off mute and ask me a question when we're all finished. So just some general office updates. I wanted to make sure that everyone knew that we have a lot of new people in the office. So I just wanted to go a quick rundown. We have two Aarons now. They're both clinical managers, Aaron Coral and then Aaron Knapik. Aaron Coral is really fully into the office and managing some cases in the Somerset County area. And then Aaron Knapik just started a couple weeks ago. So she's spending some time out in the field, getting to know some clients and their care and getting to meet some field employees. And then she'll be maybe closer to the end of the year, really be into the office managing a bigger caseload. And she'll have the Johnstown area. We have a social worker that we hired back in July, and I may have mentioned it on the last call, but her name is Chelsea. And she's really just an extension of the support that we want to offer our families. So if you have any families that you feel could benefit from her services, please let us know. She's looking to work with more clients, and she will do anything. She will connect them with resources. She will just sit and listen. She, part of her degree as a social worker is the therapy part of things. So just being there to be a listening ear and shoulder to cry on, to facilitate, family meetings, or even just work with any of the staff that are going through a rough time, or maybe have some questions about how to support our families and our clients. She'll do anything. She's really sweet, has a very soft personality, as you would expect a social worker would, but she's willing to roll up her sleeves and jump in and do just about anything, from fleas and bed bugs to whatever. She will do it. And then Megan Miller, some of you know as a field nurse that worked for us for a couple of years. She is now a clinical manager and working full-time in the office and has a pretty decent sized caseload in the Johnstown area. And then 3 new people on the administrative end of things, which seems like a lot, but we have Jenna Williams, who is part of our recruiting team, and Leanne Livingston, who is an associate, and she's kind of doing a little bit of everything right now. So you may get emails from her with in-services. She's going to be doing a lot of the coverage for Jody's upcoming maternity leave, which we'll talk about later. And she's just doing a little bit of everything. And then Courtney Williams, who was an intern for us for probably almost 2 years, she's actually now joined our team full-time starting this week as an associate. And she is actually going to be replacing Kelsey Aluzzi, who we call K2, who right now a lot of you may know from issues you have with the tablet. A lot of times she'll deal with, or she supports the clinical managers in a lot of different ways with sending out the MARs to the homes and things like that. So Courtney Williams will be taking over all of those responsibilities as K2 transitions out. So we're sorry to see her go, but she's still going to stay in touch and help us out here and there. She's kind of our creative genius. So we'll still plan to utilize her in the future. A quick recap from the remarkable night that we held at the end of August. I thought we had a really great turnout, and I thought it was a really nice evening. And, being our first event, there are always some bumps in the road. But, we got some good feedback from everyone who attended. So we're looking forward to next year, making some improvements, making some changes.
They can't hear you, but
all in all, I appreciated everyone's attendance and, participation. So it was a lot of fun. At least for me, it was. And then next is we have a contest for caregivers going on right now. So I believe it's called the Points of Pride contest. And all of your clients should have the slips of paper in their home. If your phones aren't on mute, can you mute them? For the recording, when people play it back, I want them to be able to hear. I can hear some background noise, and I'm not sure who it is. Okay, so the contest for caregivers, there's slips of paper in the home. You can nominate yourself We also encourage you to nominate your fellow coworkers. We want to hear some great stories about what's going on out in the homes of our clients and what great things you guys are doing out there. We always love to hear that. And we want to be the office that has the most nominations, and we want to see you guys win a lot of prizes. We're giving away Amazon gift cards every week. We do a random drawing, and then there's a big prize at the end once it's all completed. You can also, if there aren't slips in the home or you think about it after hours or on the weekends, you can go to bayada.com/contest, and you can actually nominate people online. So you don't have to use the slips of paper. You can do it right online. Our zoo trip, our annual trip to the Pittsburgh Zoo, is this Saturday. We're looking forward to it, praying for some nice weather because it looks like we might get a little bit of rain. And if you are planning to attend and you did RSVP and you no longer are going to, please let us know immediately. We've had some cancellations, so we're looking at maybe opening it up tomorrow to some families who maybe wanted to attend, or some of our newer clients or newer employees who weren't on the initial invitation, to see if they would like to attend since we had some cancellations. So please let us know if you can't make it, or if you really want to come and you didn't RSVP. The Halloween parade, the Johnstown Halloween parade, is October 23rd. So every year we have a float in the parade. We have a lot of fun, and we encourage all of our employees, your families, your kids, anyone you want to bring, to come down and walk with us in the parade, and our clients too. So if you have a client that you work with and you want to encourage them to come down to the parade, we'd love to have them. Our theme this year is Winnie the Pooh. So we always try to look for something that we feel is meaningful and ties into the work that we do. So there was a quote that somebody suggested at our last meeting that we could use to kind of inspire us on our Halloween float this year. So Winnie the Pooh is the theme. We're going to have a big tree on the float, and everybody's going to dress up like the Winnie the Pooh characters. Jody's maternity leave. We'll talk about that. We're excited for Jody. She's due October 29th. And for those of you that don't know, she's having a little baby girl, and she plans to name her Ava. So we're really excited for Jody in the next chapter of her life. I'm looking over at her. She's sitting beside me. So really, she's at a point where she could go anytime. So we've been definitely preparing for her to be off for probably 6 to 8 weeks. And I just wanted to make sure that everyone's aware that she may not be here. So if you try to email her and you get an automatic reply, please call into the office or reach out to one of the other people that I mentioned earlier. Leanne and Jenna and Courtney Williams are primarily going to be taking over Jody's responsibilities. So you've probably already started to get some emails from them or some phone calls from them. So they'll just carry on, while she's out taking care of the baby. So we'll be excited when she gets back. But as always, if you have any concerns or issues that you need addressed while she's off, I know she tends to be the go-to person for a lot of people, which is great. You can always reach out to me as well. So congratulations, Jody. We're going to miss you. I've had a lot of questions recently about the dress code and when we're possibly going to be giving out scrubs or stipend toward like scrub type pants. So I'm actually kind of modeling the t-shirt. It's a black long sleeve t-shirt, and I think we have the clinical managers bringing them out to everyone's homes within the next 1 to 2 weeks. And then whatever's left will be mailing to you. They're a nice long sleeve, just a plain black t-shirt, and they're soft and really nice. And then we're working on an online website that will be able to go live hopefully by the end of the month. And then you'll be able to go on that website and order scrub pants, scrub tops, Bayada t-shirts, Bayada polo shirts, Bayada cardigans. Because again, it's not an absolute requirement that you wear scrubs. I think some people were confused on that. It's really important that you look professional. So, even if it's in, business casual type pants or, black dress pants, khaki pants. If it's a jean day at school, make sure the jeans are nice. And we want you to look professional. We want you to look the best because you are the best. So I want people to see our staff, whether it's walking in the schools or out at a doctor's appointment or a therapist that comes into the home and be like, wow, they're from Bayada. I know that because they look professional and they look the part. So that's really important to me. Call-offs. We're approaching the winter months, which means, weather could be bad. And also illness is spreading rampant, it seems, especially in the schools. So we've had a lot of call-offs recently or reports, about kids being sick. So it happens. I mean, and we get it, that it definitely happens. So that's why I would say to really try to limit your call-offs to when you really are sick and can't go to work. Because what happens is then you rack up a lot of, unexcused absences or call-offs. And, our families really do rely on us. It's very serious work that you all do. And our families rely on us so they can work or so they can attend school, and even so their kids can attend school. So it's really important to take care of yourselves. I'm always harping at everyone about washing their hands. And, especially in the healthcare field, you all should know that washing your hands is the number one way to keep from getting sick. And then also just, really use caution when you're calling off from work or going to work. If you have a fever, we obviously don't want you to go in. But if it's just a little bit of a cough or you're runny nose and you feel like you're fine and you can make it to work, we can always get you masks. You can wear a mask and still be able to go and tend to your client. And, use your best judgment too on the acuity level of your client. Are you providing home health aid services, or are you a nurse working with a trach and vent client? So just be mindful too of your best judgment with your client and what they can handle if you're a little bit under the weather. We have 2 on-call phones now. So as you all know, Holly and Kevin are our 2 on-call managers, and they usually rotate weeks. Now, occasionally someone else will pick up a day here or there, but they each have a cell phone. So what we do is we roll our office phone to their specific cell phone that is theirs when we're after hours. So it's always just really important that you call the main Blairsville number, the 459-0000, because if you just try to call their cell phone, it might not be Holly's week on call. So just a quick reminder from Holly and Kevin to make sure you call the main BAYADA number if it's after hours. The Blitz, we just finished the home health aid Blitz last week. So we had a great turnout and everyone came and attended as they were supposed to. So now we're ramping up for the skilled nursing Blitz here at the beginning of November, which I think it also coincides with Pediatric Nurses Week. So we're excited to see all the nurses come in. So please make sure if you haven't signed up, you do sign up. I think it was just an easy email link that you just had to click on to register. So we tried to make it super easy for everyone this year. The end of this week, well, tomorrow's Friday, so the end of the week, you should be receiving an email from Leanne Livingston at the office, and it's an infection prevention email. So next week is National Infection Prevention Week, and we recently did an internal quality assurance audit, and we had some issues with some clients and infection prevention and contact precautions. So we want you to do this educational in-service, and it's a 10-question quiz. It's super easy at the end of the education, and it's just for LPNs and RNs. So you'll be receiving that, like I said, within the next day or two. And we're incentivizing you. If you get it done within 2 weeks, you'll receive some BAYADA bucks in the mail. The deadline is November 9th, though, to get that completed. A few updates from the corporate end of things. So that kind of takes care of everything that's going on at the Blairsville office right now. So we're still in the midst of our nonprofit transition, which should be completed by the 1st of January, 2019. So that is the target goal, and we're on track. I was attending some meetings last week, and Mark BAYADA and David both spoke at the meetings and said, we're on track to make this full transition as of January 1st. And basically what's going to happen is, as some of you have heard, Mark is gifting the company to a nonprofit organization. Now, the name of the nonprofit organization is BAYADA, not BAYADA Home Healthcare, it's just BAYADA. And there's already an elected board of directors, which Mark will sit on, the board of directors. So he is going to, as of January 1st, 2019, donate the entire BAYADA Home Healthcare Corporation to the nonprofit organization. Mm-hmm. So he is, not taking a salary as a member of the board. He feels that, again, he wants everything invested back into our employees, into everything operationally that we do, and hopefully even some opportunities for our clients and for advocacy and, helping with better reimbursement rates and for our clients to get better care. So that's exciting. We have a new pediatric practice leader. Some of you may have seen some emails or some communications about that. Her name is Melinda Phillips, and she is from North Carolina. And she was a client services manager when she started her career with Bayada, and she became a director and then just has moved her way up into the ranks. She's very down to earth. She certainly gets the work that we do because she's been right on the forefront of it. I think she's been with the company for over 20 years. And, she worked right at the office level for many, many years. So she's very down to earth, and she's really a great person and has a lot of great goals for our practice and pediatrics moving forward, especially with education, continued clinical excellence, and hiring more nurses, finding more nurses and hiring more nurses. So those are really her focus. Our focus for 2019 is new hires. So we want to try to hire more and more nurses and more home health aides. And by doing that, then the secondary goal is to increase our reliability rating and decrease the amount of open shifts we have. So we really want to work on being able to cover all of the shifts for the clients that we already have under our care. So that's all I have for right now. So I'm going to review. We did get some emails with some questions throughout the day today. So I'll just go quickly down all of those items. There's only 4 or 5. We had one nurse write in, and this is more just a comment, I guess, like a public service announcement for all nurses, that she notices that on a lot of the 485s and the care plans that when the nurses take a new order in the home, they're writing on the 485 instead of just completing the addendum and making sure that the clinical manager is aware. They're actually writing on the 485. So just to make sure that everyone's aware that that is a physician order. So you almost have to think of it like a script. So when your physician gives you a script, you don't add things to it because they're signing off on it. So we need to make sure that when orders come in, you're completing the addendum and then making sure that the clinical manager is aware.
So I add something to that.
Sure.
And on the 485, do not cross anything out.
Yes, do not cross anything out. If I didn't say that, that's what she said.
Cross
do not
anything.
write new orders in and do not cross things off.
Right.
Yes. So if an order is DC'd, that's a good point. If an order is DC'd, don't just cross it off the 485. Do your addendum. Make sure that you're letting other staff know if that's appropriate, and especially the clinical manager. So yeah, thank you. That's a really good point. We had another email from someone who, and this is a really good point as well, that a lot of our nurses and home health aides that attend school with our clients, they ride the bus to school. So they don't have their own vehicle out in the parking lot. And what happens when there's a family emergency, their child gets sick or a family member gets sick and they need to leave their shift and feeling like they can't do that because they're kind of stuck at school. So again, I think it's using your best judgment and knowing that, trying to have a backup plan in the event that your child gets sick at school and, is there another family member that could pick them up? But the other thing is just call us, call the office, call and talk to someone and say, hey, I had this family emergency come up. Can someone come relieve me from my shift? I can guarantee that somebody from the office would ride out and pick someone up and take them back to their vehicle. But we also need to make sure that the child is taken care of. So if it's a child who can't be left at school without a nurse or without their home health aide, then we need to also make arrangements for them to be able to go home. And we can do that, and we can try to do it as quickly as we can, but you just need to let us know. So it was a really good point, and I think in that situation, communication is key, and just call the office right away if you have an issue, and we'll help you, make that a priority and get you where you need to be. Okay, here's a really good one. This is about timesheets. So this is a good one to listen into. So a lot of nurses recently have been asking if they're scheduled, and we'll use the example that their scheduled time is 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. So when they do their documentation and say they arrive at their shift at 5:50, 10 minutes till 6 in the morning, and they're there until 6:15 at night, do they put on their timesheet or in the tablet 5:50 to 6:15? Or do they put the scheduled time of 6 to 6? So here's the best answer we can give you, and you are free to call and talk more specifically about it if you have an issue. But on your timesheet, that is when you are assuming responsibility for the care of the client. So if your shift starts at 6 o'clock, and that's when you're assuming responsibility for that client because you're signing off from the nurse who's coming off of night shift or from the parents, then it's 6 o'clock. It's professional courtesy to arrive 10 minutes early to your shift, just like you would any job. And I use this example, and I'll use it for all of you to hear, that if you worked at Walmart and seriously, I know, Carla's laughing over here, but if you worked at Walmart we all know that Walmart, the break room is clear in the back, and that's where the time clock is. You have to punch in if you work at Walmart. So if your shift starts at 6 o'clock, are you going to pull into the Walmart parking lot at 6 o'clock? No, you're going to pull into the Walmart parking lot at maybe 10 minutes till 6, so you have time to get into the store, get the whole way to the back, punch in, hang your stuff up, do whatever you need. So it's the same kind of thing. I mean, just it's a professional courtesy. If you worked in the hospital when you were punching a time clock, it's the same thing. You try to get there 10 minutes early so you have time to just get oriented to your shift, because you are assuming responsibility for that client when your shift starts at 6 o'clock. So if anybody has any questions about that, or it's not real clear, you can call in and talk to one of us and we can try to explain it a little bit better. But basically, that's what you need to be doing.
But I know at the hospital, you do punch in the minute you get there.
Well, there's
if you have to go up to the third floor.
There, and that is
so I don't know.
True. Or there's sometimes I know, like when I worked where we had time
Right.
clocks, there's like the 7-minute rule. So you could punch in at like,
after,
53 or whatever.
Right.
But since that's not really the case here, you know, and that person, especially if you're relieving someone off night shift and they're working until 6 a.m., they have responsibility of that client until 6 a.m. So that's when their documentation should end and yours should start.
Well, it's nice to have somebody come in, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
And
but that's just getting report.
Report, because some of these kids they're pretty bad. Sometimes
right.
You might have a bad night. It might take you 15 minutes to tell.
Yeah.
Everything. Order changes or whatever.
Right. So that's what we just, you know, feel that that's like a professional courtesy to say, I'm going to get here a little early and get ready for my shift for the day. And then at the end of the shift, if it spills over past your scheduled time, you know, we kind of need to know why and what's going on. So are you there till 6:15 because the next nurse didn't show up because the family was late getting home? Or was it to do complete documentation or do other things that you didn't get, you know, done during the day? And sometimes that stuff happens. It could be 10 till 6 and the client has a seizure. And you have all your documentation done and all your ducks are in a row and you're ready to leave, and then the client has a seizure. Or they have like a massive explosive bowel movement and you're not just going to be like, see ya, I'm leaving. You know, you're going to help clean it up. Yeah. So things like that happen. But I think, you know, it's just letting us know, saying, hey, shooting an email to your client services manager to say, hey, I stayed over on my shift because, you know, throw your fellow coworker under the bus. You know, Carla was 15 minutes late, or, you know, mom and dad were late getting home from work, so I had to stay an extra 15 minutes. Or, you know, I'm struggling to get my documentation done and I'm there till 6:15 or 6:30, because then we can help you try to figure out how to manage your time a little bit better. It's fine if it happens once in a while because maybe the client has a bad day or there's a lot of other things going on. But if you feel like it's happening repeatedly, then let us know and we can try to help you work through that, because we don't want you, especially if you're working a 10 or 12-hour shift, stuck there for another 15, 30, 45 minutes just to try to get your documentation completed. And I know it can be frustrating. So hopefully that makes sense and clears it up. And again, if you have questions, please just reach out to us. At the last meeting, we did talk about compensation to employees when their client is in the hospital. And I've had some recent emails about this, and then another one came through today. And to be honest, we're still just kind of navigating through how we want to handle that or what to do, because I'm hesitant to say, you know, to quickly jump into, hey, we'll pay you when your client's in the hospital, because we want to instill some flexibility in our, you know, in our staff, that you'll help at another case, you'll help with another client. Even if you're a nurse, even going to help cover a home health aide shift, because a lot of our clients that we attend school with receive home health aide services. And if we don't have a home health aide, then that child can't go to school. So it's really, we want to I don't want to just be so quick to pay everyone. And then it's like, well, I'm not going to help pick up that shift, or I'm not going to do that because I'm getting paid for it anyways. So I'm still trying to navigate through the best scenario for that. And even from a legal services standpoint, like what can we do in terms of like a flat pay stipend if your client's in the hospital and we don't have other work for you within, you know, reason. So more to come on that. Know that I haven't completely, it's still something I think about and still something I'm trying to work through. It's just trying to figure out what the best option is for everyone.
What we can do on that one is try it. If it didn't work out and the nurses don't want to do it, then you don't do it.
Right.
It's up to the nurses there.
Yeah.
Exactly. And like, well,
yeah,
like
we do. We have a lot of open
well,
cases.
Like Chrissy's saying, well, I'm not going to do it because I'm getting paid.
Right.
Well, this is in your balls in your court now. So you better figure it out when you don't have to work. because you're going to get paid.
Right.
You know, say somebody goes in the hospital and then there is no other cases. They're all taken.
They're all taken.
So that's something that, you know, you need to really stop and think about.
Right. So that, like I said, that's why I'm trying to just figure out the best course of action. So it's fair for everyone and it's a consistent message to everyone.
I like
and
that. It's a good idea.
Also for, you know, the client services managers from a payroll standpoint to make sure that they're, you know, paying everyone and not missing out on things. And then the last email that I had was actually about sign language and offering a sign language class. And I thought that this was a really awesome idea. So quick little shout out to Katie. Thank you for the recommendation. I know it's come up before. Yeah, so I actually already put the wheels in motion. I have a friend that I went to, that we graduated from high school together, and she teaches at IUP in the deaf education program. So I've already reached out to her, and she's giving me some dates of when she could have some classes for us. I think October's already booked up, but we're looking in November and December. It would probably be at the Blairsville office, but it would be, you know, just, I told her something basic. She had some questions for me. So I'm going to try to get some additional information from some of you who work with clients who use sign language to see what kind of signs they're using. So she feels like she can best arm you with the tools that you need to be able to understand your clients and communicate with them appropriately. So I think, I wish it's something I know it's been brought up before, but it really struck a chord today. So we're going to move forward and really get on the bandwagon with that. So that is all I have from my end. So let me see, I have a little chat here. Tabitha says she'd love the sign language, so that's great. Everybody's kind of on that. Yeah, and I think, you know, going back to just the timeliness of you know, the shifts is really trying, again, the professional courtesy to try to get to your shift at, you know, a few minutes before 6 o'clock. 10 minutes, I think, is an ideal time frame. But again, using your best judgment, you know your client, you know the staff that you work with, and is it appropriate to get there 10 minutes early, or should I just 5 minutes or 3 minutes okay? You know, it really just is dependent, but it's never okay to be late. I had an old boss that used to tell me that if on time was late, he considered that. Being on time was considered late. So I didn't really learn. I'm a late person, admittedly. That doesn't make it okay. So do as I do and not do as I say, not as I do. Because I tend to be, but it's really important in the work that you do to be, you know, mindful of your coworkers and even of the families. If you're relieving the family and they need to get ready for work, or they have other children that they need to tend to, they really rely on you, and it's important to them. Does anyone on the Zoom, Laura or Jennifer or Tabitha, have any other questions or thoughts that they would like to share? And then I'll open it up to the people that are here in the room with me. Nope. As far as who has to attend the upcoming Blitz, you would have, if you're supposed to attend it, you would have received an email already with the sign up link. So it typically ends up that about half of our employees come in the spring and half come in the fall, and it's determined by when you were hired. So it's an annual education. So it has to be completed before or around the time that you're like on your anniversary. So we just go to the spring and to the fall. So you may have been hired in September, but then you actually have to come to the spring Blitz because coming in November is too late. So you may only work for us for 8 months and it's time to come to the Blitz. You might not even get a full year in before you have to come, just because we try to get everybody, and then everybody gets on a consistent routine with their dates. So whether you're fall or spring, if you were to come this fall, you would know already. And my guess is spring Blitz, Tabitha, because you rehired. Anyone have anything else? Jennifer or Laura?
No, I do not.
Okay. All right, I'm going to go around the room here. I'll start with Christy. Christy, do you have anything?
You know, we get our checks, they don't have
the PTO balance. I know. Do you know the answer to that? They changed that.
They changed it. It went away.
Yeah, I'm going to give that feedback. That's one thing we've heard a lot recently, is there was a change to the pay stubs where you don't see your accrued paid time off. So what I can tell you is, I think, do you guys have access to Workday yet? Did they roll that out? Okay.
It'll tell you on there.
If you can access and get into Workday, the Workday system, it will tell you how much PTO time you've accrued. But if you're a non-technologically savvy person like myself, please feel free to reach out to your client services manager. But I am going to give some of that feedback to our payroll team and see if any of that can be changed moving forward. I'm sure they're getting a lot of complaints about it from a lot of other people
I
too.
guarantee
So
it,
yeah, when you're used to that, it's
We
a
get
change.
That 4 hours of PTO time.
It already went in.
It went in.
Mm-hmm.
See if we want. I wouldn't
Yeah.
know. I have to get on my.
If you attended the remarkable night, you received 4 hours of PTO time. So it was probably at least 2 or 3 weeks ago that I filled out all the paperwork and had everybody's on there, and I like triple checked it. So that should be, and I'm pretty sure Holly said it does show up. It's showed up. Mm-hmm. So you should have that.
Workday thing because it's not on there.
Yeah.
You can't see it.
And if you have questions about Workday and how to access it, you can call into the office and we can help you navigate through that. Yeah, Tabitha needs that info.
I don't know about, like you were talking about being on time and on your shift and early or whatever. Night shift.
Mm-hmm.
There's a call off.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Can we have another night shift, like people, if they're going to call off, you don't know, like at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock that you're not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
You probably, if you're sick, you're going to know by 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're calling me to come in and I haven't slept,
yeah,
and then I feel bad because I can't go cover because I didn't sleep.
Yeah.
You know, and it happens.
Yeah.
I mean, but is there a way we can have like a window, like by 4 o'clock, night shift has to call off?
Yeah, I think we do try to ask people that. I mean, we really do. We try to say, and I know he's trying to use your best judgment, and sometimes things do come up. Maybe you feel fine, and like you said, there's a family emergency or something with your car, or you're like walking out the door and you throw up. I mean, I guess that could happen.
Right.
But you're right. If you're feeling like lousy kind of all day, and like you know yourself, you know your body. So if you feel like you have a fever or something like that, definitely try to call off earlier than later. And the reverse side of it is sometimes people will call us at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and say, I'm calling off for tomorrow at 7 because I feel like I'm getting sick. And it's like,
that's not true.
Right. And it's like, well, maybe, I know recently I've heard Kevin and Holly say to people, hey, why don't you, drink some fluids, get some rest, take some medicine, kind of take care of yourself, and then call me in the morning and let me know. Yeah. Because, again, that's you never know. You might start, like yesterday, I kind of felt like I was getting sick, but I woke up today and I felt perfectly fine.
Well, you try not to laugh about it, but it is, I'm sorry.
It's comical sometimes. Yeah.
Talk to Kevin.
Christy, did you have anything else? Yes.
Yeah, I have one complaint with the towel is
Okay.
when you're writing and it goes beyond a certain point, like the other ones, when you're filling it in, it skips up. But when we're writing our note, all of a sudden, every time you click on that bottom line, it goes
back up. It covers
You have to work
put
your way
something
back
else in.
down.
She's right.
And
And
it's
it depends
really,
on the
really
tablets, and all the
frustrating.
tablets are different in these different homes. They really are. Because
You're saying like when you're typing,
Typing,
you can't see it. It like covers it.
Yeah, like you go off because you're doing stuff and then you come back and you want to add. And then you touch that spot and the words
and then there's
flip right
times
up
where
on top of it.
All right.
And then you're not quite sure like where I just
You have to go
send.
back down there.
Yeah,
And you're like on it. Yeah, it's like touch screen. So
and it's not, and me, I don't know about you guys, but when I like this morning, when I kept submitting it, and I know I typed the stuff in, it wasn't there. So it won't let me submit it until I go back. So that takes time
It
after,
does. I know.
so
I know.
I just wish we could get the keyboard, like, because I can type like a bat out of hell.
I know, and I
I
like
I'm
this.
texting on my cell
I can go
phone.
real
And
quick.
see, I've asked that a couple times, and I've even offered, especially for some of our bigger cases where we have a lot more hours and a lot more staff, to even get a computer like I have. And I know you guys that are on recording or on the phone can't see it, but it's like a tablet with a keyboard attached. So it's like a Microsoft Surface Pro. But I've asked several times, I said, I'm willing to even invest in bigger tablets or a laptop really for some of our clients or anybody who's really having a big issue. So I know they're working through it, and I know they're trying to, they've been testing different keyboards to see what's compatible because it was throwing bugs into the tablet, and then there were really big issues with stuff. So it's still a work in progress. Unfortunately, it's just a very slow one, but I'll give them that feedback because sometimes some of that stuff they can control or change up. So sure.
The soap we have now is not antimicrobial, it's antibacterial. I just opened the first one today. I'm like, oh.
Is it the new stuff?
The phone, yeah.
So
I just don't know if that's.
Well, it's what they told us to order. So there's been
the thing says we have to use antimicrobial, not antibacterial.
Yeah, and there's been so many. I think a lot of microbugs and different things, and getting, people getting immune to some of the soaps. So I know there was just a huge email that went out several weeks ago about using a new soap. There was a new type of soap, new brand of soap that they were recommending that we use, and we could use up the stock that we had of that old stuff, but this was the recommended brand for the new stuff.
Okay.
So I would look for
Okay.
things to
That's what I was
change. Just,
wondering.
yeah, I think things are just changing even from the CDC, like we'll probably see.
I have not seen the new stuff yet,
It's
so.
foam. It's nice,
Well,
but I was
foam,
just
yeah.
concerned because
Sure.
it wasn't what we're.
And I'll double check on it, but I mean,
It doesn't dry your hands off
Yeah.
as much
Yeah,
as
it
the other
doesn't.
one does.
Well, see, I
It
think
doesn't.
that
Yeah,
it's still the
it
same.
is.
Like, we still have the foam. I don't know if we used our supply up yet, Christy, is what I'm getting at.
oh,
They might be talking about the other slope with the trick
The
load.
blue?
The other phone?
Trickless ends in it.
Yeah, the Atera, it's called, I believe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tara. Yeah, that's
Is that
the
what
one.
you're
That's the
talking
new one,
about?
yeah. Is that the one you're
Is that the
talking
new
about?
one though, or is that
Like
the old
stove
stuff?
and it's a foam
It's a
pump.
foam, yeah,
So
that's
that's
a
not
Tara.
really the new one.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh, it's not.
There
Okay.
is a newer
wondering.
one coming.
Okay.
But once we use up our supply, so it
I
is
had a
the new
feeling
one,
it was a.
but not the
But not the
new
new one.
Okay,
Okay.
so is the
Okay.
new one better for stuff because we're going into flu season?
Supposedly it is.
So maybe
Supposedly
we
that's
can
the.
use our old stash when we get out of flu season, and we can use the new
Well, I don't even
for
worry
flu
about
season.
that hand, foot, and mouth is going around
I know.
rampant. Rampant.
It
I mean,
is.
like if I'm just saying,
Yeah.
if they're saying that it's better, maybe we need to use
Send
it
new
now.
soap now. Okay. Good feedback.
Or, yeah, that,
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
hand, foot, and mouth is really
It's
rampant
rampant.
right now for some reason. I know even at my son's school, he didn't go to school today because he's like too freaked out. He doesn't want to get it.
Well, I don't blame them.
well, it does
So-
say-
And
it
adults
does
are
say
getting
on,
it.
it does
Yes,
say on
we've had some of our
surfaces.
staff who've
Adults are getting it.
reported that they've had it. So please, again, just really wash your hands and
It says on surfaces. I don't know what's
Wash your
on it.
hands.
wash your hands. Wash your
You
hands.
know, kids.
Don't put your hands in your mouth.
And bleach. Bleach
Do you have anything else? No? Okay. Melinda, do you have anything?
Always.
Watch it, lady.
Hey,
Are we routinely putting masks in the house so that we just go ahead and have those?
yes, you're supposed to.
I
At least maybe prevent trick cases.
Yeah, I
Just a
don't think that we
suggestion.
do, but it's not a bad idea, especially with this time of
I
year.
thought we did. Well,
Well, I don't know that we routine. I know if we call, everybody.
that
There's like
managers
one
always
set
say,
of
yeah.
like PPE in the
Yeah,
back of the
that
red
should be in
binder,
the
but it's
binder.
only one
Yeah.
set, I think, so
I mean,
it's
the
not
boxes
multiple.
aren't that expensive.
Mm-mm.
Just
I
a
bought my
suggestion. And then I've had a couple people ask me, I'm like, I will get back to you. Do we provide flu shots?
I have wanted to provide flu shots like in the office, like have a flu clinic, a
clinic.
flu shot clinic. And year after year, we're kind of told we cannot do that.
Okay.
However, we were looking into, we just were talking about it last week, looking into a way to get you guys like vouchers or like a better deal at some place. And then we would at least pay for it. So we would encourage you to go and we would either reimburse you or if we could get some type of prepaid voucher to be able to give our staff to get them, because we really are, I know more and more of our clients too are requesting that the staff have flu shots. And I said, I think we're going to have to go to like the hospital systems where if you don't get at least for those families, if you don't get your flu shot, then you might have to wear a mask on all of your shifts. Cause that's what they make you do in a hospital
Right.
setting now.
Well, they don't let you don't have a job.
I wonder if there's,
telling you,
I'm
there's no
wondering
job
if
at
there
Commonwealth.
would be, like my insurance covers,
Mhm.
but I don't know. I
So
didn't,
mine
I
doesn't.
Not
didn't
everybody,
realize that,
right.
that sometimes people have a copayment. Do you think there would be a place that would maybe give us a discount? Like as a,
Well, that's what we were
Yeah,
talking
I
about.
know.
Like if we called like Rite Aid or somewhere and
Yeah.
said, hey, we want to offer flu shots to
Okay.
our employees. You charge $45, but we're going to be sending you like,
How many?
Gotcha.
you
My
know,
husband's-
100 people maybe. So, or we'll buy 100 vouchers at $30 a pop or something like that.
My
So
husband's company does that, and they pay it $10.
Can we do that contest on the tablets?
I thought it was on there and then it wasn't.
That's what I swore I saw it. And
I
I
did
swore I
too.
didn't.
I
and
swore I saw it.
Yeah, and I'm
Okay.
like, am I going crazy?
No,
So
I saw it too, but
we
it's
don't-
I'll
gone
look.
and it disappeared.
Okay. Flu shots, masks.
were you going to say something about
I
the
was
flu
just gonna
shots?
say Danielle might have some knowledge on where we can
Okay.
get
Okay.
flu shots. Yeah,
Yeah.
so Danielle might have some.
Okay.
I had another person ask me if I knew about this. I'm like, I have no idea, but you know how we do the bonus for like non-call offs?
Mhm.
And this person like never calls off, but they had a death.
Mm-hmm.
So they just wanted me to throw it out there that could be at the meeting. If possibly that's something
Yeah. So we talked about that. Actually, it came up recently. I don't know if it's the same person or not.
I don't know. They didn't
But
say
it came up recently, and Holly and I talked about that. And I said, I think that we don't have a bereavement policy for like our field employees, unfortunately.
Right.
But what we always do at the office level is we try to do something. So if it's a close, immediate family member, you know, grandparent, whatever, we kind of go by whatever the like
Right.
office policy is for like, I think it's grandparent, aunt, uncle, sibling, child, spouse, something like that. So what we try to do is, you know, depending too on how much the person works, and we'll give them usually like 1 to 2 days of like bereavement time. But what we talked about was, I know in the one circumstance, the person had a lot of like overtime. So they actually weren't going to be below 40 hours. They were still going to be into overtime. So I said, then I think that definitely shouldn't, the kind of our give and like the meet in the middle was like, that won't count as a call off towards there because they had no other call offs. So instead of paying them a bereavement day, because it would be weird with overtime and all of that, that we would do not count it as a call off. So we are trying to
quarterly bonus.
Yes, for the quarterly bonus. So we're trying, and again, it's hard because we want to be consistent. And so it's like, if we're going to do that one time, then we are going to like roll that out. So if it falls within the guidelines of like what the bereavement policy is, then we won't count it as a call off.
Okay.
That works.
And then we were talking about the addendums. So, sometimes case managers are doing addendums in the office, and so then they're not on the computer, which is fine because it's fine for them, but also field staff has the capability of doing the addendums. Sometimes, not sometimes, I am finding a lot out in the field on some of these kiddos that we get a lot of addendums that it's just crossing too much. So maybe you're not at this case for a week or so. You come in, you don't know that this order has been DC'd or this order has been going on, and it's like a matter waiting to happen. So I think sometimes some of the staff is writing in on the 485, maybe in pencil, only to let somebody know. So I guess what I'm asking, I have a couple ideas, but I don't really know what would be the appropriate thing. Somehow we need to make it foolproof so that if an addendum is being done in the office,
that it's getting out to the
we
home
get it
more
to
quickly.
the home, and vice versa. You know what I mean? And I really don't know. I know the one case we came up with where we put a piece of paper in the front of the MedMars, and we're just writing saying like, hey, this was DC this month or this. That way, when the new MedMars come out, we can check it and everything. But I'm sorry, Megan's what was it?
No, finish your.
I just want to make it foolproof somehow. Like it's just.
And I did speak, Christy, to a few other clinical managers about this, and they had recommended that the addendums just be done in the home. If the nurses are in there and they're with the clients, even if we receive the verbal order, if we call them, relay it back, have them read it back over to us, and just do the addendums on the tablet, because we have no way to do addendums like on the tablet,
and send it to us. And I know, like the other day, Megan took a picture of what the doctor faxed over, didn't have the kiddo's name or anything, and just texted it to me, and then I did the addendum. Isn't that what happened?
Yes.
Okay. So
I did the addendum.
You did the addendum and sent it to me, and I put it on the members. But anyways, we had that just because we wanted to make sure. But
it was correct.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, I don't know.
All right. No, that's definitely a really good one, and it sounds like some of the clinical managers, there's already some buzz about it in the office, but I'll reiterate that, and I think we're going to be having a clinical manager meeting next week, so I'll definitely bring it up, and I'll talk to Wendy Thomas.
I love when case managers want to do it. It's less work for me, but we have the capability of doing it.
Right, and you want to make sure nothing's missed.
Yeah, that was it, I think.
Okay.
Sorry.
That was good.
Carla?
Very good.
The only thing I want to say, like you said about go back to the gloves, or not gloves, but the mask. Did you know that there's a right way and a wrong way to wear them? So everybody in here knows that.
Yeah, I remember from the hospital.
Well, I never knew this. No, keep anybody else I've talked to, nobody knows. Anybody during a home, nobody knows how to wear them.
How to wear them.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I think the white side out. How is that now? If you have the flu, the white side should be attached to your face, and the yellow side out. And then if they're sick, the white side should be out and the yellow should be attached to your face.
Sometimes I don't.
We can send out like a staff education to
I would.
everyone to make sure they
Just
know.
because this winter,
Mhm.
just because it's going to be bad.
And
this year.
especially if we take some masks into the home, maybe we can even just attach the correct
Mhm.
instructions like right on
Yes,
the box.
that would even, yeah.
So everybody can see it, but we can also send an email too. So
And sometimes they're different colors. Some of them
They're
are
different colors, like
But yeah, I
yellow
kind
and
of-
white and blue and white. So
Right.
I'm going by those.
Right.
But that is a good point.
Yeah,
Because
I never
whether
knew
you're
that.
protecting yourself from them,
Right.
because they're sick,
Right.
or
like vice
you're
versa.
protecting them
versa.
from you.
That's a
I
real
never
good
knew that.
point.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Lori, is that you on there still? Did you have any questions or anything you wanted to ask or add to any of the conversation? Okay. All right, well, that's all I have for today. So I'll definitely take some of this feedback and hopefully get some answers for some of these things, and we'll send an email out once we have some resolution. And if you get the link and you're watching this recorded and there's anything that you think of, questions that you have, please just send me an email and I will address each and every one of them. All right, thank you for all you do. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for coming in, and thank you in the future to those people that watch my lovely face against the red wall here. So, but thank you for all you do. All right, take care.
You too. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.